Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel for another Bitcoin update. So, Bitcoin exact bottom, let's talk about it. This is going to be another one of my quick 3 or 4 minute short form updates where I really just want to share 1 or 2 concepts with you. So let's jump into this. If you have been watching the channel, if you are a veteran, you would have watched in the past couple of weeks, I've been looking at things like the NASDAQ fractals, VIX fractals, SPX fractals, and I've made it very clear on my channel that I think specifically, not the stock market, because we've already talked about how previously the stock market bottomed months and months and months after tech stocks did. I've been saying how I think tech stocks, Bitcoin and the NASDAQ bottom late December / early Q1. And I'm going to share another reason why I actually think that there's more evidence now of why we're going to bottom around about December, January time. So jumping right into things, we've looked at the NASDAQ fractal predicting a bottom around about December. We've looked at the VIX, the volatility index, predicting a bottom early Q1 for the tech stocks and Bitcoin. We obviously are insinuating that this would correlate to a bottom for Bitcoin because when we do actually look at the most recent volatile spike for the VIX, this was back in 2008 when Bitcoin was not actively trading. So we know that Bitcoin is highly correlated to tech stocks. So in this, I've been looking at these bottoms that have been playing out in the NASDAQ according to these tech stocks. And looking over at Bitcoin, one other idea I've got is to check out the thesis of the 4-year cycles. Is this still valid? So let's connect the all-time highs and look at what happened in the bear market of 2017, 2018, and overlay when the predicted bottom should be according to this. Now, the first thing I noticed when looking at this, it's not the same on the other, on some of the other charts, but this one here, obviously, bear in mind, we've retroactively fit the top, so you can't really say that this is a fitting data point, but you can see the top over here was beautifully called. You can see the local bottom over here before a bounce was pretty well called. You can see this top over here was pretty well called, while this low was very far down from where we were. This did predict a bottom before a weekly bounce, followed by a rug, and then as you can see, the bottom quite nicely lined up, the top perfectly lined up, and ever since then all of these weeks have just been beautifully aligning. This pump happened at the same time, but I believe it was an FOMC meeting roundabout here that pushed us down. So there are going to be differences with these. I'm not saying that this has to play out 100%. In fact, I'm saying I don't think it will play out 100%. I think at some point we've got to deviate from this because we've been copying it so much. But we are in kind of this last final phase of the cycle, where as you look down here over in the 2018 bear, this is where we were getting ready to break beneath the previous lows, and you can see you had a micro you had a macro pump up here. This correlates to this macro pump. You can see we broke down, had a second macro pump, and this looks like it correlates round about these peaks over here. You broke down, and you had another rally literally on the week that we're at right now / next week, and you can see this rally is also lining up, and according to this should be a lower high from 25,200, which is why I don't think we'll be going up to 25.2, but according to this we should be rolling back down. And when are we going to be bottoming? Well, looking at this is predicting a bottom on the 7th of November. Now, while I think it could definitely take a little bit longer, I will also show you if we do have something similar to the 2013 bear market, where would we be before we have a bottom? Well, let's drag this out and you'll see what I mean, that this cycle does definitely not line up as nice as the previous 2018. I hadn't actually noticed how nicely these line up. Obviously the floor, the flat floor around here is definitely a bit different than what we're seeing right now, but other than that, the waves are very accurate, with the peaks and the troughs accurately calling the swings. Over here you can definitely see, I would almost argue this is inversely correlated, but if we are looking for a bottom roundabout here, this should be roundabout December time. So all I'm really pointing out here is if we are following our typical 4-year cycle, which, by the way, if you are looking at from the lows to the highs, from the lows to the highs of this market, you know, the 4-year cycle from low to high has played out. I don't see any reason why the 4-year cycle from high to low wouldn't play out, and we're going to be bottoming months and months before any other Bitcoin bottom. And I say months and months, but this was over here in November where we're predicting a bottom, and we had a quote-unquote bottom down here. If we don't come back down to this lows, this would mean that Bitcoin's bottoming at about 160 days or so before the previous cycles, which just doesn't make too much sense. in my opinion. But nonetheless, like I said, these short form videos, I just want to communicate 1 or 2 ideas with you. So what I've got for you for this episode, my friends. Let me know what you think of this down below. Do you think, like myself, we're going to continue with this 4-year cycle? Or do you think we're going to do something Moon Boy? Do you think this is an extended cycle and we're going up to 100k? Let me know down below. I'm interested. As always, Cowboy out. Peace.